On faith and practice. Having already discussed interpretation, we will now present a discussion of faith and practice. This discussion is intended for those who have not yet joined the group of beings who are determined to attain enlightenment. On four faiths. Question: what kind of faith should a man have and how should he practice it?
Answer: briefly, there are four kinds of faith. The first is the faith in the ultimate source. Because of this faith, a man comes to meditate with joy on the principle of Suchness. The second is the faith in the numberless excellent qualities of the Buddhas. Because of this faith, a man comes to meditate on them always, to draw near to them in fellowship, to honor them, and to respect them, developing his capacity for goodness and seeking after the all-embracing knowledge. The third is the faith in the great benefits of the Dharma, teaching. Because of this faith, a man comes constantly to remember and practice various disciplines leading to enlightenment. The fourth is the faith in the Sangha, Buddhist Community, whose members are able to devote themselves to the practice of benefiting both themselves and others. Because of this faith, a man comes to approach constantly and with joy the assembly of Bodhisattvas and to seek instruction from them in the correct practice. On five practices. There are 5 ways of practice which will enable a man to perfect his faith. They are the practices of charity, observance of precepts, patience, zeal, and cessation of illusions and clear observation. Question: how should a man practice charity?
Answer: if he sees anyone coming to him begging, he should give him the wealth and other things in his possession in so far as he is able. Thus, while freeing himself from greed and avarice, he causes the beggar to be joyful. Or, if he sees one who is in hardship, in fear, or in grave danger, he should, according to his ability and understanding, explain it by the use of expedient means. In doing so, however, he should not expect any fame, material gain, or respect, but he should think only of benefiting himself and others alike and of extending the merit that he gains from the practice of charity toward the attainment of enlightenment. Question: how should he practice the observance of precepts?
Answer: he is not to kill, to steal, to commit adultery, to be double-tongued, to slander, to lie, or to utter exaggerated speech. He is to free himself from greed, jealousy, cheating, deceit, flattery, crookedness, anger, hatred, and perverse views. If he happens to be a monk or nun who has renounced family life, he should also, in order to cut off and suppress defilements, keep himself away from the hustle and bustle of the world and, always residing in solitude, should learn to be content with the least desire and should practice vigorous ascetic disciplines. He should be frightened and filled with awe by any slight fault and should feel shame and repent. He should not take lightly any of the Tathagata's precepts. He should guard himself from slander and from showing dislike so as not to rouse people in their delusion to commit any offense or sin. Question: how should he practice patience?
Answer: he should be patient with the vexatious acts of others and should not harbor thoughts of vengeance, and he should also be patient in matters of gain or loss, honor or dishonor, praise or blame, suffering or joy, etc. Question: how should he practice zeal?
Answer: he should not be sluggish in doing good, he should be firm in his resolution, and he should purge himself of cowardice. He should remember that from the far distant past he has been tormented in vain by all of the great sufferings of body and mind. Because of this, he should diligently practice various meritorious acts, benefiting himself and others, and liberate himself quickly from suffering. Even if a man practices faith, because he is greatly hindered by the evil karma derived from the grave sins of previous lives, he may be troubled by the evil tempter and his demons, or entangled in all sorts of worldly affairs, or afflicted by the suffering of disease. There are a great many hindrances of this kind. He should, therefore, be courageous and zealous, and at the 6 4-hour intervals of the day and night should pay homage to the Buddhas, repent with sincere heart, beseech the Buddhas for their guidance, rejoice in the happiness of others, and direct all the merits thus acquired to the attainment of enlightenment. If he never abandons these practices, he will be able to avoid the various hindrances as his capacity for goodness increases. Question: how should he practice cessation and clear observation? Answer: what is called cessation means to put a stop to all characteristics, lakshana, of the world of sense objects and of the mind, because it means to follow the samatha, tranquility, method of meditation. What is called clear observation means to perceive distinctly the characteristics of the causally conditioned phenomena, samsara, because it means to follow the vipassana, discerning, method of meditation. Question: how should he follow these?
Answer: he should step by step practice these two aspects and not separate one from the other, for only then will both be perfected. The practice of cessation. Should there be a man who desires to practice cessation, he should stay in a quiet place and sit erect in an even temper. His attention should be focused neither on breathing nor on any form or color, nor on empty space, earth, water, fire, wind, nor even on what has been seen, heard, remembered, or conceived. All thoughts, as soon as they are conjured up, are to be discarded, and even the thought of discarding them is to be put away, for all things are essentially in the state of transcending thoughts, and are not to be created from moment to moment nor to be extinguished from moment to moment. Thus one is to conform to the essential nature of reality, dharmata, through this practice of cessation. And it is not that he should first meditate on the objects of the senses in the external world and then negate them with his mind, the mind that has meditated on them. If the mind wanders away, it should be brought back and fixed in correct thought.
It should be understood that this correct thought is the thought that whatever is mind only, and that there is no external world of objects as conceived. Even this mind is devoid of any marks of its own which would indicate its substantiality, and therefore is not substantially conceivable as such at any moment. Even if he arises from his sitting position and engages in other activities, such as going, coming, advancing, or standing still, he should at all times be mindful of the application of expedient means of perfecting cessation, conform to the immobile principle of the essential nature of reality, and observe and examine the resulting experiences. When this discipline is well mastered after a long period of practice, the ideations of his mind will be arrested. Because of this, his power of executing cessation will gradually be intensified and become highly effective, so that he will conform himself to, and be able to be absorbed into, the concentration, Samadhi, of Suchness. Then his defilements, deep though they may be, will be suppressed and his faith strengthened. He will quickly attain the state in which there will be no retrogression. But those who are skeptical, who lack faith, who speak ill of the teaching of the Buddha, who have committed grave sins, who are hindered by their evil karma, or who are arrogant or indolent are to be excluded. These people are incapable of being absorbed into the Samadhi of Suchness.
Next, as a result of this Samadhi, a man realizes the oneness of the world of reality, Dharmadhatu, i.e., the sameness everywhere and non-duality of the Dharmakaya of all the Buddhas and the bodies of sentient beings. This is called the Samadhi of One Movement. It should be understood that the Samadhi of Suchness is the foundation of all other Samadhi. If a man keeps practicing it, then he will gradually be able to develop countless other kinds of Samadhi. If there is a man who lacks the capacity for goodness, he will be confused by the evil tempter, by heretics and by demons. Sometimes these beings will appear in dreadful forms while he is sitting in meditation, and at other times they will manifest themselves in the shapes of handsome men and women. In such a case he should meditate on the principle of mind only, and then these objects will vanish and will not trouble him any longer. Sometimes they may appear as the images of heavenly beings or bodhisattvas, and assume also the figure of the Tathagata, furnished with all the major and minor marks, or they may expound the spells or preach charity, the precepts, patience, zeal, meditation, and wisdom, or they